Agent Power Huddle is a daily jumpstart, giving you all the tools you need to create an amazing real estate career. Led by top experts in the field, you'll learn how to sell more houses in less time while creating the life you want. Welcome to the Agent Power Huddle.
Morning, everybody. I got one person with their camera on. Come on, you guys, turn on your cameras. Engage, connect. We're going to be learning how to do a CMA using RPR. RPR is something that the National Association of Realtors gives us as a bonus. It looks a little bit different depending on where you are, I've learned. So my interface might not look like yours does, but basically runs the same exact way. Is anyone else using RPR right now to do their CMAs? You are? Okay. All right. Awesome. So you can probably follow right along. So I'm going to share my screen. Autumn, do I have permission to share my screen? No. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So when going into RPR, the first thing, if you're not using RPR yet, the first thing you're going to want to do is create your account. To do that, you're going to need to go and make sure you find your NERDS number. They're going to need all that good stuff. And you're going to need to make sure that all of your information is correct, where your what your brokerage is, all your contact info, because it will show on the report. So RPR can do a lot of cool things for buyers and sellers. But for this call, we're going to do just learn how to do a CMA. That's all. Maybe we'll do more with other features of RPR, but this CMA I find is the most accurate I've ever used, but it is a little tricky. So there's a little learning curve to it. So for today, we're going to do a property that I've already worked on. And this is here in my area. So when you enter an address, it's going to pull up the property and it's going to pull up all of the information about the property and what's called the RVM. The RVM is what the computer is valuing the property at based on different algorithms. And this is a much more accurate algorithm than, say, a Zestimate or others, just simply because they're using MLS data. And they rate it on a confidence scale here. So over here, you'll see how confident they are with that number, right? So if for whatever reason you've got a 1-star here, that means you really need to go in and adjust the valuation on your own and make sure you're comfortable with it. But usually it's either a 4 or a 5 in my experience. So like I said, the RVM is a great place to start if you're just trying to value a property, maybe if you're mailing somebody a property report and not doing a true CMA. But what you always want to do is you always want to make sure you look at the details and make sure everything's correct. I'm sorry, not those details. Hold on one second. Let me go back. These are the details of the RVM and what properties they used. Okay, the details I was talking about are the details of the house. Okay, so we're going to go here and check all the details and make sure everything that we know of is correct about the house. So for this one, the only one I had to make an adjustment with was the bedrooms. But sometimes the public record is way off and you really have to go in and make those adjustments, because what will happen is once you make those adjustments, the value might change. And that's what's called the refined value, which is over here. Okay. Okay. So here we're going to do our CMA. Okay. And it's going to bring it to a step-by-step process. Okay. Now, we already confirmed the home's facts, but if you didn't do it previously on that screen, you can do it here. Again, it gives you another chance to do that. So you'll go through and make sure everything is correct, whether or not it has a garage, make sure, all of the data from the public record is correct. So here, once you're done, you're going to hit confirm facts and close. Okay, so now we're going to search for comps. Okay. So like I said, I've already done this one, but I'm going to go back and show you what I did. RPR will search for you. If you like, you can search by using criteria over here, or you can search by using just a map shape if you'd like. Or if you know of a specific property that may be a comp and not listed here, you can add it yourself manually. I find that RPR doesn't tend to pull up all of the properties that I want to use. And sometimes when I use RPR to do it automatically with criteria, there's some that are still there that they could have pulled, but they didn't. So what I do is I always go to my MLS, and it's an extra step that you don't have to do, but just so that I have enough properties to use in the comps, I go to my MLS and I put in some criteria of my own in my MLS and come up with a list of MLS numbers if they're not shown there. It's just kind of like an extra step. So I get my MLS numbers and I put them in here, and then they end up here as you put in each one. Okay. Is everybody following me about that? About the criteria here? Okay. So you can put any criteria you want, and you can put keywords. The only thing you really can't do here, and that's another reason why I go back to my MLS, is that you cannot put a style of a house here. So I like to search if I'm pricing out a ranch. Obviously, I'm not going to comp it with, a colonial. So because you can't make that distinction here, you can just go to your MLS and get them from there. But otherwise, if you're in an area where all the houses are similar, this might work perfectly for you. Okay, so we have our comps. And what we want to do is we want to edit our comps now. Okay, so we're going to go back to our checklist, and we're going to make adjustments for our comps. Okay, so now this is the part that can get a little tricky, and what helps is when I first started, I got a list of improvement valuations. In other words, what would an updated bathroom, how much value would that add to the house? How much value does a garage add to a house? I know them now, so I don't need it. But if you're just starting out using this tool and you're not, you don't have much knowledge about that, then I would definitely get a list and put it together of home improvement valuations. So here, what we did is it lists every property side by side in a grid form, and you can determine which one you want to show first in what order. When you pull from the MLS, it will bring in all of the MLS photos too. And so you can make them bigger if you like, which I can't see, so I always do. But here it's going to show you all of the comp information side by side. So this particular house, I hadn't seen yet, right? This was a blind CMA. I knew that it had 5 bedrooms, but what I didn't know is if the bedrooms were really bedrooms, if they had a closet and it can be used as a bedroom. But the homeowner told me that they were bedrooms, so I went on her word. So I didn't adjust these rooms. I just left it the way it is until I saw it. So you see how it has these numbers here, 7,500. So banking on the fact that it probably wasn't a 5-bedroom truly because it's a very small house, I assumed that it's probably a 4-bedroom. So I adjusted these 3 bedrooms up to 400. And so how you do that is you get how much value does an extra bedroom add to a house? And that's about $7,500 here where I'm at. Okay. So what you do to make this adjustment equal to the comp, I should just put 4 here for this purpose. I was actually right, by the way, when I went to see the house. So what you do to make this adjustment correct is you're going to add here 7,500. So I did that across the board because all of these comps were 3 bedrooms. And this is really helpful when you can't find any comps. This allows you to pull houses that are similar, but not exactly the same, right? So that you can make these adjustments. Here's another one. This house, my subject has only one full bath. Okay. This comp has an extra half bath. So an extra half bath around here is about $8,500 of extra value. So what we're going to do, instead of adding it, we're going to subtract it and go negative, and that will automatically show in the red. So does everybody understand that? What we're doing is we're adding if the subject property has more, or we're subtracting if the comp has more. Does that make sense? Everybody? It's a quiet group today. Okay. So moving on. So you go down and you make your adjustments. Okay. I don't normally adjust for land, especially if I haven't seen it. And here, land isn't really a big factor anyway. But if you're in an area where acreage is something that's really important, then you'd want to make sure you do a formula how to adjust your comps for acreage. Also, when there's similar in square footage, I don't make any adjustments here either. They're all pretty similar. But if it was a pretty drastic difference, then you would do the price per square foot and make your adjustments there. Okay. So we're going to scroll down. Now, one thing that these comps have that mine don't, or the subject does not, is central air. Because believe it or not, up here in Massachusetts, some houses still don't have central air. So we're going to subtract, right? Because the comps have central air, but my subject does not have central air. So we're going to subtract. It's about a $40,000 valuation. We're going to subtract, oops. Make sure you hit the minus sign because that's what makes it red. Okay, now, and what we want to do to get to that fourth comp is we're just going to go up here and hit next so that that fourth comp shows. Okay. So we're okay with the bathroom here. We added the fourth bedroom. Square footage is good. And this one also has central air. Okay. So everything else looks great. This is correct. It's all finished. These all have finished basements. So it looks like we're in good shape. Now, if you're sending this to somebody and you're not going to present it, I always add whatever I made my adjustment for. I'll add it here. Adjustment made for extra or lack of bedroom and addition of, oops. There we go. All right. So I include that in my report. I'm not going to do it for all of these, but I would normally if I were sending it to a potential seller. So down here, you're going to see where it made its adjustments. And this comp weighting thing is this is really something that's used by appraisers. This particular report that we're doing is really very close to an appraisal report by making all these adjustments. So this comp weighting is how similar our comps are to the subject property. You can manually change this if you feel that one, if this is a little off, but I always just keep it equal and I let the computer do it, the weighting itself, because it's just way too complicated. So here we come back to where it ended up. Okay. That's where the after all of our adjustments, that's where our valuation is. Now we're going to hit update valuation and close. Now, the only thing we have left to do is actually create the report and figure out how many pages we want to include. I'm going to go there in a second. But before I move on, I want to show you up here that there are two options, right, to do a sales or a CMA. So what's the difference? This comparative analysis is a much less detailed version of what we just did. So if you're not comfortable making adjustments like that, or if you're not sure of what the valuations would be or how much improvements would add, then you can do a comparative analysis like this. And I'm just going to show it to you really quickly what the difference is. Okay, same thing. We're going to go all the way through here, confirm facts. All right, we're going to find comps. We're going to use the same comps that we just used rather than have to look for new ones. Okay, same thing. We're going to go to adjust comps. Now, here's the difference. Instead, we aren't able to make adjustments with this one. Instead, what we can do is answer this question: how does the property compare to the subject? So instead of getting detailed, we're just saying, okay, well, this one has one less bedroom, but it does have central air. So you know what? It's actually probably a little bit better because central air is a big deal here. We want central air, right? So I would say over the one bedroom, it's going to be a little bit better. Same thing because the central air. Now, if this one didn't have central air, then I would have probably put it one down. But you just have to use your judgment. And that is why right there, I do it the other way, because I feel like it's a lot more accurate, because it's hard to judge. I mean, what if my subject didn't have central air, but it had this beautiful updated kitchen and bathrooms, so it would be difficult to determine, which really is better and to who, because it's really subjective, in my opinion. So I always use the other one, but like I said, this is it takes less time, and it's good for you if you're uncomfortable making those adjustments. Okay. So let's go back, and we're going to go back to our sales comparison analysis. Okay. Now we're going to hit create report. Okay. And here's where you're going to select what your report is going to look like. Okay. So I use the valuation workbook. You could use a seller's report. You could use a property report, but this one is the best one. But what you want to make sure you do is you want to open it up and see if when you first come in here, everything is going to be checked, and it will be about 60 pages, right? It's too much. So what I do is I come in here and I say, okay, well, what do I really need? So, and this is up to you. This sometimes doesn't even have anything. It's just whatever they can find on record. If the property had been sold previously and there were pictures online, it will pull. So I don't really ever use that. These map layers, it probably depends on what area you're in and whether or not they would be helpful to the seller. Here, they're not really that helpful. So I don't use them. But again, it's up to you. It's just can get overwhelming with so much information. So here, this would pull any, whatever history of each comp that you use, which is maybe the seller doesn't really need to know that. And here, if you see you hover over the eye, it will show you what exactly it looks like. Okay. Now, the other thing is local market conditions. If you include all of these, it is going to pull every single home on the market, whether it's a comp or not. And it can get to be, depending on where you are, again, it can get to be a lot. So I never use these. This is almost like saying that, I'm not going to do my own comps. I'm just going to let you pull them and do what you want without me even having anything to do with it. So there's really no point in having this in here. Sometimes I do market activity snapshot. Let's say I want to include that. This just gives them like an overview of it. It doesn't show them every single house. Okay. And then about RPR and our data, I never use that either. Okay. So once you've decided what you want to include in your report, You can either email your report directly to your seller, or you can run it and send it as a PDF. Okay. So I usually run it because I'm going to be meeting with them in person. And it takes about, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes to run. And when it's done, it will give you a little doorbell sound, which you'll probably hear in 1 second. Actually, it might not, because I already really ran it yesterday. So now, if you email it to them, it's really a cool little interactive thing that they get. Let's see if I can fake it to myself so I can show you that part. I kind of like it better. Oh, there it is. That's the doorbell. Okay. So let's see what it looks like. Okay. Oh, hold on 1 second. Oh my goodness, the Zoom bar is in my way. Hold on 1 second. All right. So this is what it looks like for anybody that's never seen one. Can you see my screen? Is it a blank screen right now? Can somebody answer me? What are you looking at on my screen? Is it RPR still, or is it a blank screen?
It's a blank screen. It's just got clear place.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry, I don't know, my computer's slow. Maybe because of all of my open windows. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It will have your company up here. That's why you want to make sure in all of your information here. That's why you want to make sure that they have the right logo. All of your company information is correct, your email and your website. Okay. So this is what it looks like. It's a pretty impressive CMA, in my opinion. If I got this as a seller, I would feel like it was pretty accurate, because it shows you, okay, this is where the RVM was, which is interesting, right? But the RVM wasn't making the adjustments that we made, right? So after making those adjustments and seeing that all the comps had central air, it took it down a notch. But even in this market, it's probably going to end up somewhere here, because if we listed it at 550, houses are still selling way over asking here. So if I were listing this house, which I am going to, I would suggest that we list on the top end of this price range, maybe around 575. And I bet you anything that we're going to end up close to that number, because that's where the other ones ended up after selling. Does that make sense? So yeah, I would advise my seller, this is sort of where it wants you to be, but given this market and how there's no inventory, we're going to go somewhere in the higher end of this range. Okay, so this will show you all of the data we put in. It'll show you the overview of the house. And this is all of their property history, all of the assessments. And then it just shows you every comp like we did. A snapshot of what we did with the adjustments. But it will go through and show them each comp individually and all the pictures of the comps. Okay. But if we scroll down to the end, it's taking a minute to load here. Curious to see what your thoughts are on these prices. I don't know where you all are from. But this tiny little ranch, look at not even updated or anything, is over 600,000. It's crazy to me. Okay. Yeah, with this one. Okay. Sorry, it's taking forever to load these pages. I don't know why here. Almost done. All right, so here's what I wanted to show you. This is the local market condition summary. So if you want to include it, this is a nice thing to show your seller what the local absorption rate is, and all of the detailed information about the current market, median sales price, listing price, housing supply. I think this is a really cool thing to include. And you can see, it even breaks it down last 3 months, 4 to 6 months, and up to 12 months. Okay. And that's it. So the last page is, it just gives you, this is the current market snapshot, how many active listings, expired, and et cetera. And the last page of it is just all of this extra information about this, our EXP's affiliates, I guess is the word for it. I'm not really sure what to call these, but yours would look different if you're not with EXP. I don't think that you would have this page. So that is a CMA using RPR. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer? We have a couple minutes left. No? No questions?
How effective has this been for you in the past?
I love it. It's been great. And you know what I used to use is Cloud CMA.
Right.
And I liked that too, because you're still able to make adjustments on it, not as detailed as this. I don't know if you know this, but Cloud CMA now gives information, your sellers, if you run a Cloud CMA, it gives your seller information to iBuyers. So they'll get contacted by iBuyers.
Oh.
Yeah. So that is what made me stop using Cloud CMA, because I really liked it. But when I found out that RPR was free, I said,
right.
well, I'm going to try this. And yeah, it's been great. People really like it. And I think that if you take the time to go in and make those adjustments, it shows, I think it gives you more credibility that the seller thinks, wow, this person, really knows, what adds what value, what improvements add how much value. And in the current market, I think it makes you look more knowledgeable by making those adjustments. Where did I take the adjustment value? There's no tool. You mean, are you asking how do I know how much to add for, say, central air or garage? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Okay. No, there's really no tool. What I did was I just looked it up in my area. I did research and I made myself a spreadsheet for, what improvements add what, whether it be a 1-car garage, a 2-car garage, a finished basement, central air. And I just compiled a little worksheet. So that will vary, I think, on what area you're in. So that's what I would do if I were you, is just, or even if you have, friends or fellow agents that are contractors, ask them. They know everything about that stuff. So
I think they print that on Angie's List, and I think you can just Google it and find different. I know there's different websites that.
That's what I did. I Googled it and I put it all together in like a little spreadsheet. Yeah, Google it. You'll find it. But if there's something missing, like if there's something you're not sure about, then I would just, if you know a local contractor, ask them.
Yeah, as long as it's close, that's all that really matters, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. And there's so many things that will vary, location based, I think. So that's why you want to just make sure you look it up for your specific area when you're searching.
So is RPR, was it pretty accurate for your closed prices?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Plus, our market is crazy right now, but yeah, it's very accurate. I find it to be more accurate than if I'm looking up. I don't know if you use HomeBot. Do you use HomeBot? It's another valuation tool. Yeah,
not yet. I'm thinking about it, but I haven't done it yet.
So HomeBot just provides a valuation just like RPR just did. And, this estimate, I find that RPR is the most accurate of the ones that I've seen.
They usually give two, right? RVM and AVM, and AVM is automated and RVM is like actual value. So it's
realtor valuation model. And they also do the refined value after you,
refined value.
Yeah,
that makes the biggest difference, I think.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Nobody has any more questions. I guess that's it, right, Autumn? We done?
Yep, I'll start the music.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome day. I'll see you next time.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.